Hello everyone, welcome to Katharine's Creatures. This is episode 108, and this is a series where we're going to talk a little bit about and touch base upon various mythological creatures, beast, beings, and the like pulled from lore worldwide. And I always like to preface by saying that I'm not a linguist, so if I mispronounce anything along the way, I apologize in advance. And today I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about a particular dog entity that goes into the category of the fae dogs, the ghost dogs, the big black dogs of lore throughout Europe, and this one in particular, who's has kin with a variety of names, including Padfoot for some of you Harry Potter people. But this one is actually going to be over and referring to the Moodey Dhoo, and it is a singular creature entity that used to haunt a particular castle. It was called the Peel Castle, which exists on the Isle of Man. And this particular dog haunting has a number of stories associated with it. One of the translations of some of these stories kind of misrepresented the spelling and gave it an alternative name, in other words. And so its alternative name is Moddey Dhoo, but it still refers to the Moodey Dhoo, and this is a singular entity. And like a lot of the other black dogs of myth and lore, it is described as, should not surprise you, a large black canine. Sometimes the canine is described as being like shaped like a spaniel with curly, shaggy fur. Other times it is a canine the size of a calf. A lot of times its eyes are very, very large, sometimes described as being as large as platters or very, very shiny and sparkly. And this immense, again, canine that haunts the particular castle at night. Now, the Moodey Dhoo was spotted pretty much in all the different rooms, because some ghost-like creatures are seen only in a certain location. This one had been pretty much seen everywhere around the castle and all the rooms, though it is most often spotted around the guard's chamber. And we'll get to that in just a moment. And the main lore is, whenever the dog was spotted and someone lit candles or fire, the dog would come over to the light and lay down kind of in front of all the guards that were on duty at the time. And it didn't cause any harm or any problems, but just kind of hung out with them during that time. And there was a particular pathway linking parts of the castle to the captain of the guard's specific quarters that kind of ran under some of the church's grounds, which is interesting, again, because a lot of spirit entities avoid hallowed grounds, and this one kind of just went through this like corridor and would travel between the castle and where the captain of the guard lived. Now, one of the stories goes, or the famed story goes, of what happened to this dog was that one time there was a particular guard that imbibed a little too much and did not follow a certain protocol, and it wasn't his turn to lock up the gates, but by George, he was going to do it. So, being very inebriated, goes and does, locks up the gates whenever he thought he wanted to do it, and then had to go and return the keys back to the captain of the guard, so he took the tunnel. But it wasn't the normal time of day to do this, and as the story goes, the captain heard some kind of ruckus in the tunnel, opens it up and finds this particular guard terrified, so terrified that he could not explain what happened to him while walking through that tunnel. But what is interesting is not only did that guard die 3 days later, the dog had never been seen again. So that was the last supposed sighting that tied into kind of the traditional story of the Moodey Dhoo. Though regardless of that, there still have been periodic claims of people seeing or spotting this big black dog entity on the Isle of Man and around Peel Castle, all the way down to like 1931, 1932. So there are still some stories that were pretty modern in respect about the dog existence on that particular island. And but if you have any questions for me about this or any other kind of mythology, folklore, legends, feel free to reach out to me on my social media, post them in the comments below. And until next time, everyone, Skål.